Murders are always disturbing, but some are even worse than that. These killings were brutal, almost unimaginable in their depravity. The crimes horrified communities and stumped police, leaving questions that lingered for decades afterward, as years passed without an arrest or even a credible suspect. We took a look back at some of the most high-profile killings from the past 150 years. They vary in their details, but they all have one thing in common: a killer who has never been found. Here are 10 of the most vexing murder mysteries of all time. 10. A prepubescent girl was found decapitated in St. Louis. In 1983, in a case that still haunts detectives. On February 28, 1983, a female body with the head missing was found in an abandoned building in St. Louis. Police originally thought it was the body of a sex worker, but soon discovered that the victim was much younger than they expected, between 8 and 11 years old. At the time, it was the only decapitation in the U.S. that involved a person that young, according to the FBI. The victim and the killer still remain unidentified. She is simply known as Little Jane Doe in the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children's database. 9. An unidentified boy discovered in a box in 1957 became known as the boy in the box. On February 26, 1957, the body of a small boy was found beaten and disposed of in a box on Susquehanna Road in Philadelphia. Police estimated that the boy was between 4 and 6 years old. 60 years later, his identity and that of his killer hasn't been discovered. 6. ABC News in Philadelphia calls it one of the highest-profile unsolved mysteries in Philadelphia history. A historic marker was mounted for "The Boy in the Box" in Philadelphia in 2017. The case was featured on America's Most Wanted. 8. Rapper Tupac Shakur was killed in a drive-by shooting in Las Vegas in 1996. Rapper Tupac Shakur was killed on September 7, 1996, at 25 years old. He was shot while stopped at a red light in Las Vegas. Gang rivalries were suspected as a motive, but his death has spawned a host of conspiracy theories, including some that believe he's still alive. A&E aired a 6-hour miniseries called Who Killed Tupac? 7. Between 1920 and 1950, as many as 10 people disappeared in the Bennington Triangle in southwestern Vermont. Between 1920 and 1950, as many as 10 people mysteriously disappeared in a patch of woods surrounding Glastonbury Mountain in southwestern Vermont. Some have also reported UFO activity and Bigfoot sightings in the area. Author Joseph Citro coined the term Bennington Triangle in 1992. 6. The New Mexico Killer. It took police a year to identify the remains of 11 women killed in the West Mesa murders, but they still haven't identified the killer. When a woman walking her dog found a human bone in 2009, she had no idea she had come across one of the biggest crime scenes in U.S. history. She had found a 100-acre patch of desert in Albuquerque's southwest Mesa that contained the remains of 11 women. The 11 women buried there had all had connections to drugs and prostitution, and it took police a year to identify all of the remains. They came up with a small pool of suspects, but no one was ever charged. 5. A triple murder in Tallahassee. This case is still unsolved more than 50 years later. Robert and Helen Sims and their daughter Joy were found bound, gagged, stabbed, and shot in their Tallahassee home on October 22, 1966, WCTV reports. More than 50 years later, police still don't know who did it. The murders have been the subject of a documentary called 641 Muriel Court and various podcasts. 4. Between 1979 and 1982, 5 murders and disappearances were linked to a single unknown person. In an area on the border between Idaho and Washington known as the Lewiston-Clarkson metropolitan area, a series of murders and disappearances between 1979 and 1982 remain unsolved. Of the 5 missing people, only the bodies of Christina Nelson, Jacqueline Brandy Miller, and Kirsten David were found. Stephen Pearsall and Christina White remain missing. The cases were featured on the Investigation Discovery docuseries Cold Valley and the true crime podcast The Trail Went Cold. 3. Jack the Ripper terrorized London. London's most notorious serial killer prowled the East End over a century ago, preying on prostitutes and terrorizing the area. He made his mark as Jack the Ripper by killing and mutilating at least 5 women. Dread grew as the dead bodies began to pile up near each other within a 3-month period in 1888. The neighborhood was horrified to a degree bordering on panic when news broke of a second female victim, the Morning Post reported at the time. The local newspaper called the killing barbarous, and said the manner of the murder was too horrible for description. Countless historians and criminologists, both amateur and professional, have speculated on the killer's identity, but it appears Jack the Ripper took his secret to the grave. 2. The Zodiac Killer taunted police with clues. The Zodiac Killer was no ordinary murderer. Rather than avoiding the spotlight, he craved media attention and seemed to enjoy taunting police with cryptic notes and clues as he left a trail of death behind him. The Zodiac Killer murdered 5 people, seemingly at random, in Northern California in 1968 and 1969. He claimed in letters to police that there were dozens more victims, although that was never confirmed. His deadly rampage began in December 1968, when 2 teenagers were shot to death in a parking lot. About 7 months later, another 2 people were shot in a parked car, although one survived. That's when local newspapers started getting letters from someone anonymously claiming to be responsible for the slayings, according to the San Francisco Examiner, which had received the cryptic notes. To this day, no suspects have been confirmed in the case. The San Francisco Police Department said the investigation is ongoing. 1. Death of Elisa Lam. In the surveillance footage of Elisa Lam in the Cecil Hotel elevator, Lam appears to think someone is following her. Wearing a red hooded sweatshirt, black shorts, and sandals, Lam boards the car and then crouches down to peer at all the buttons. After pressing one, she steps into the back right corner. Then the clip gets stranger. Lam steps out and slowly leans out the door, looking right to left, hopping out, shuffling back in, and then back out again. Entering the elevator again after about a minute and a half, Lam then presses a bunch of buttons. The doors don't close. At around the 2-minute mark is the eeriest part. Lam steps outside the elevator again, and moves her arms and hands in a manner that looks almost like she's pretending to conduct music, or pawing at the air. She appears to think she is speaking to someone, but no one is visible in frame. Then she shuffles out of frame completely, into the hallway. Lam's body was found by a Cecil maintenance worker on February 19, 2013 on roof tank. So that was it. An updated list of 10 most famous unsolved murders in the world. What topic should we discuss next time? Please write down in the comments section below. Do not forget to like and share this video. Subscribe to Facts Bundle. See you in our next video. Thanks for watching.